So I've been pulled up from the mud. I was in the middle of a few different things, and now you will be pulled up from the mud as well because you have a message. So I'm in the same spot as you, don't worry. I was right in the middle of a number of things, but if you are here, then you are here for a reason. I firmly believe that. So if you could stick around, maybe you'll get a message. And that message today is definitely going to be about how much God, Spirit, Yahweh, El Shaddai, our creator of all things, whatever you want to call that, whatever you view that, you can use Odin if you want to. I don't care which dynamic you're using. We're talking about whatever represents spirit and like the highest creator for you today. So there's a lot that's going on at the moment. I didn't even pull out tarot decks for this and I just started talking. So I guess we're using whatever's here. So I'm definitely getting a sense of like people looking in at themselves, but there being some sort of a issue here. Like there's a sort of two groups. There's one side that has a pretty clear view of themselves and is doing well, but they're not really necessarily doing more than looking at themselves peripherally. And that peripheral group is doing quite well. However, the other group is having a little bit of trouble. But I do think that both groups will have something to learn from this message. So if you are in either group, I highly suggest that you stick around and listen to both, because you'll either feel a sense of camaraderie with where you used to be, or you'll be able to enjoy the benefits of seeing what it will look like in the future. So we'll do the hard stuff first because it gets a little bit annoying. But basically, I think the message that's coming in from Spirit today is really about whether you are treating yourself with the respect that you deserve. There's a whole lot of distracted thinking. There's a lot of distortions in our thinking. Distorted thinking is the word that's coming in. Thank you. And there's a lot that is related to that I think is causing problems in your natural life as you're just going about doing things. Like you may find a lot of obstacles. You may find a lot of darkness in your life. You may be actually going through a dark night of the soul. And if that is the case, then this is definitely the comforting reading for you. I am going to be pulling a really quick card here. Let's see what the universe has to say in all of this. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. And this came out in reverse, which is honest to God the first time I think that's ever happened to me. I know that it's probably happened before, but I really felt for a moment I was very surprised that it came out backwards, because normally that doesn't happen. Most of these cards are pretty much in order, and I tend to pull them the right way. But I'm really feeling like this is being handed out in a certain way, you know? Like, instead of praying or trying to achieve a particular outcome, tries to find the solution that has the best outcome for everybody involved, including you. And this isn't like you only get your second choice. This is, honey, we found you a better first, second, and third choices, and we're going to give them all to you. Okay? So this isn't just a random situation here. This is something that's really being given to you as your birthright, because your inheritance from Spirit has arrived, and your inheritance is your own happiness. Your inheritance is your own happiness. I'm having a hard time actually speaking. This is a very, very difficult message. My teeth are like it feels like there's electricity in my teeth or something. I don't know how to describe that. It's not necessarily a toothache. It's so complicated. But there's definitely so many interesting things going on. I'm getting like this purple energy, like this freedom energy. Yeah. So if you guys are feeling more empowered by this message, that's definitely the feeling to follow. Definitely just run off and do whatever you're inspired to do if you want to do that early. But try to come back if you can. I love you. But there's a stream of love supporting your dreams and the things that you want to do. You are so loved here. I'm also getting the hummingbird spirit coming through. I'm getting a lot of purples, so that could be confirmation. If you've been seeing or you really like a lot of purple and things like that, that may be relevant here, or just some extra confirmation, because purple is certainly more of like a crown chakra color. So this is a confirmation of, and there's another one. I tucked myself in under my desk a bit, and the whole thing that I used to prop myself up moved. Normally doesn't do that either. Woo! Jesus is in the house. He's in the freaking walls. But your fearless freedom will light up the world here, is what we're saying. So you go ahead and you enjoy your life, man, because things are going to be turning out so much better for you. But I know right now they're not, which is kind of what we might want to talk about a little bit, because there's this distorted thinking that's going on. Maybe this has to do more with, I'm getting a sense of gratitude. We're being guided towards a sense of gratitude. And don't freak out, because if this is going to trigger you, then this is likely the block that's been stopping you from getting certain things. And I'm going to repeat that again because it's that important. If this gratitude word triggers you, that's probably what is stopping you. I want to state for the record, I have been abused. I have been through so many different types of it that it would make most people sick to hear my full life story. However, through good therapy, through good medication, and through good people, I am more than grateful for those experiences. Not the pain, not the suffering, but for the fact that I went through those experiences and lived. And this is the perspective shift that needs to be happening, because there is a diving in that needs to occur into your own mind to start picking apart what was once a large concept of something you dislike about yourself or others. That needs to be brought apart, even into two separate halves at least. Like, this isn't even black or white thinking. This is just labeling it from the offset, which is what I'm not really feeling super comfortable with for you, because it's not necessarily the healthiest thing. And it's not what spirit is asking for you to have as your inheritance. It's not asking for you to treat yourself like garbage. It's asking for you to try to be kind to yourself and to not look for punishment everywhere, but rather to reach out to your own self and recognize that these answers are truly coming from within. I'm just a manifestation of your consciousness right now. I truly, truly am. And I know that sounds messed up, but it's true, because at this point in this channeling state that I'm in, I am no longer functioning from the perspective of me. I'm no longer Ash. This is no longer Ash of Garden of Ashes. This is just the voice of whatever it is that is most highly aligned for your particular situation. And sometimes that will come through as a gentle bird song. Sometimes that will come through as a very specific piece of music that you really appreciate. I'm definitely getting music largely here, so you may get messages through music already, and you might be missing out on them a little bit. Something as simple as a title can start to teach you what's actually God and what's actually like just various nefarious influences trying to get involved. And all of that is vastly helpful for you to try to keep an eye out on, of course. But beyond any of that, there's also a very large portion of this group that has already done a lot of this work. And I feel like it's less like a group 1 and a group 2 at this point, and more like a really vibrant spectrum. Like, I'm seeing a lot of red and green and things like that. So it's more like we're moving across like opposite ends of a spectrum, trying to combine them into something that moderates better, into something that we can all sit in, if that makes sense. Because some of us are really far ahead, and perhaps we're not reflecting as much as we should be on certain things because we're getting a little bit further ahead of ourselves. And like, excuse me for like just like sniffing there, but it could be like maybe some like just like basic gross hygiene stuff if you're worried about that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying we're all being jerks. What I'm saying is like just like normal people stuff. And I'm not saying you're gross. I'm saying like I just snorted like a pig, which was kind of gross. But besides that, it was still a very human thing to do. And I think that's what we need to recognize here as well, is there's much involved in the process of taking care of oneself for those of us who are already way ahead. And the spiritual path of just checking yourself every once in a while does not always mean that those old patterns can't be overlooked as well. Because when you have a big problem, it's easy to see. When you have a small problem, it's not easy to see. Like, what I'm using to get you this channeled message is a tiny piece of a candy wrapper, basically, because it just caught my attention and I was holding on to it and just passively thinking of it. You don't always need to channel with cards specifically, but that was what set off the reading for me, because I was like, God, are you really going to make me do a reading on a piece of a candy wrapper? And God's like, and there's like no answer except for just a look. And I'm just like, you know what? Fine. Whatever, because everything was very kind up to that point. So I was already like super into doing the reading, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, people are gonna think I'm crazy again. Oh well, time for that, I guess. But nonetheless, it's a very complicated process of seeing one's own, I would neglect to call them flaws, but seeing one's own seeing one's own boundaries, seeing one's own structures, seeing one's own field of influence, and truly seeing how you can divest those things into larger categories rather than just seeing, or into smaller categories, rather than just seeing them as the larger categories themselves. Because those larger categories will explode outwards like nebulas the second you do, is the visual that I'm getting on that. So that's a lot of messages. I hope that that was rational and sentient enough for people to understand. But I am going to go ahead and pull out the Kawaii Tarot really quick to get us a couple tarot cards, because I need a little bit more direction myself. It seems like the breath has passed by a little bit. I'm going to give myself a second to cough. Oh, boy. All right, and a card popped out here. We've got the Ace of Swords. Yeah, communication is going to be big for you in this period of time. Try reaching out to people. If you're having trouble seeing yourself through the proper lens, or in either category, really, consider reaching out to other people and just like asking them what they think of you, or saying like, hey, like, how would you describe me to other people? I'm having a hard time figuring out who I am, and I want to like kind of get a feel for it from what other people think, because who we are as people psychologically is built up of a lot of different things. There's things that you know about yourself that nobody else knows. There's things that I know about you that nobody else knows. There's things that, because I'm a tarot reader, there's things that and I honestly, I don't even know that at that point. As soon as I'm done tarot reading, it's over, and I could not care less. If I find out anything that I really shouldn't know, I'm not interested in knowing it personally, because that's your personal private business. But nonetheless, I feel very inclined to say that there's a lot within you that deserves to be explored and deserves to be treated with the care and patience of a good friend. And thus, asking a good friend could be a great idea for you. But stay away from people who aren't going to be kind, and be sure to be reciprocal about it as well. Like, don't just ask them what they think of you and then like run off in the conversation. You know, it's way too easy to do that when we're doing our spiritual development, to just disappear after we've had like an interesting, what do you call it? I guess you could call it a spark of inspiration. It becomes difficult to walk away. But nonetheless, I think I'm going to leave a lot of this message here. One of the other things that was definitely coming through was a higher sense of wealth as well. So if people have been waiting for either a certain amount of income or a certain amount of stability, abundance, that kind of stuff is all coming in. All of your wishes, all of your motivations, all the things you've been motivated to achieve are waiting behind this process of eliminating that which prevents you from seeing yourself clearly, and prevents you from being able to look back and see things clearly if they are still attached to you. And I think by these groups talking, by people communicating about these sorts of feelings, we can have a lot more meaningful conversations in the first place, while simultaneously helping each other figure out who we are. So if you guys want to start a little bit of a dialogue down in the comments and like share who you think you are, like just come up with 5 things about yourself that you think you are. And if you can't, just do 1. Like, I know for sure that I'm compassionate. I know for sure that I am very thoughtful, because I never stop thinking. I know I'm pretty ditzy, and I know I'm very kind-hearted. There's 4 of them. I know I'm very creative as well, and there's 5. So I know these are things that I know for sure about myself, because these are things that I value and things that I have been able to prove in the real world. Like, I'm a creator. I create things. I've done years and years of music on top of the tarot reading work, which there were a few years worth of content that was wiped. But again, moving forward, I do you guys also like this weird little like one directional, like just looped video? Because I find it so soothing. Like, I'm watching it while I'm doing it, and I find it connects us better. So I think I'm going to do that to save both on render time, and also because it's kind of hypnotic in a nice way. But I hope that you do enjoy these readings. Please let me know if there are any ideas that you would have. If anyone wants to suggest any readings, you're more than welcome to pop in the comments and do that as well. But yeah, besides that, I think I'm all set on this message for now, because you guys have a lot. If you need to hear it again, there was a lot packed into the beginning, so maybe pop back in there. But I think the biggest thing is just to look back on yourself and do some self-reflection. It's time for some loving, very loving and non-judgmental self-reflection.